We're starting. And we are live. Perfect. Hi, everyone, and welcome to these series of webinars at BeMyApp. My name is Lou, and I hope there are many of mobile app developers today amongst us tuning in right now. We'll give it a few minutes before everybody can begin tuning in. Thank you again for joining us. Today we'll learn alongside with Himanshu Satija. He's a software engineer from NativeBase team, and he'll teach us how to build a React Native to-do app using NativeBase. Just a quick reminders before we begin. This is a very interactive webinar, so don't hesitate to ask him your questions, and he'll definitely answer you there and then, or at the end of the session. He'll definitely come back to the questions, so don't hesitate. And as well, I want to invite you to BeMyApp.com, where you'll find our upcoming webinars and hacker events, and to community.BeMyApp.com, where you can all register and find out about our weekly events. Check out our newsletter, and definitely stay up to date. So this is all from my side, and now I'll turn it over to Himanshu. Himanshu, how are you?
Hey Lou, I'm great.
Great. So shall we begin?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. So if you can just go ahead and share your screen with us.
Yes, I've started sharing my screen. Can you see that?
1 second.
Is my
There we
screen
go.
visible? Yeah.
Perfect. I think. Perfect. So we're up. We're up and running. You're all set to begin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lou. Hello everyone. I'm going to be talking about creating React Native apps with NativeBase in this webinar. My name is Himanshu Satija, and I'm a software engineer at Geeky Ants, which is a product and services company. And I have 8 months of experience in React and React Native, and I'm the co-author of NativeBase, about which I'll be talking shortly. So we are going to build a to-do app using React Native, NativeBase, and Redux. So before we do that, I'd like to talk about React Native. So our company started working with React Native 1 year back when Facebook released React Native for Android. Before that, we used to build mobile apps using Ionic or Cordova. So, but that used to wrap our app inside the web view. So those apps were slow, and it just did not feel native. So after we started with React Native, we were happy with it because it renders a native UI, so the performance is good, and we have component-based development, like we can have reusable components, and best of all, we have JavaScript, so you don't need to learn another language for iOS or Android. You just need to know JavaScript. But soon we ran into some problems, like there were two low-level APIs to build the interface. So we wanted to have something which will allow us to start with the app development easily. So We started building a product called Native Starter Pro. That was a premium product. We had different components in that, which are usually used for mobile apps. So then we decided that some of the components inside Native Starter Pro should be, like most of them should be open sourced. So we created a library, NativeBase. So NativeBase provides a set of reusable UI components, and it is also highly customizable, and it is variable driven like Bootstrap. So it is easier to change the theme of your app very easily just by editing some variables in the theme file. And we have built this library based on the design guidelines of Google and Android uh, and for iOS. So with a single code base, you have a platform specific look, and we currently have 23 more than 2300 GitHub stars. So I'll be just pulling up the NativeBase website. Okay, so what NativeBase is trying to solve is, if you have uh, some code to create a button component, it will look like this without NativeBase. And with NativeBase, you just need to use the button component in JSX. And we also have platform specific design. So like for this header, the same code will look different on Android and iOS according to the platform guidelines. So I think we should start with the to-do app. Actually, before we start with to-do app, we can also talk about Redux, which we are going to use for state management uh, for building the app. So Redux is a library which allows you to have state management separately, and it will help you to uh, write your state management such that it is easier to debug, and your app will behave consistently because all your data is inside a single state tree. And also the app state is read only. So whenever we want to change something, we emit an action which will create a new state that will then be used to render the app. So the functions which are used to uh, transform the state are pure functions, which means that they won't mutate the previous state. They'll create a new state based on the action and return that state. So what we have here is our app will be provided with the store using the provider component from Redux. So that way our app can access the state, Redux state, and we have a app container component which boots up, which contains our whole application. So actually we have two types of components in Redux: presentational components and container components. So container components are the components which actually interact with Redux, directly interact with Redux. So all the actions that we want to do or we perform on the state are written in this component, and all the presentational components are only used to build the UI. So uh, we can first just get started with the like reducers, uh, which are used to modify or create a new state. So for the to do app, we'll have uh, some actions like add to do, which will get the original state, and just it won't mutate the original state, and will use the ES6 spread operator to get the original state and add extra properties that we want, like in initial state we define the structure of our state. So it has a to-dos array, which is an array of objects of type this. So we have text inside that, which will have the text of to do item, and it will have a boolean value completed, which will be toggled, and we have a display type, uh, which will decide which items to show. So actually I can show you the app that we are going to build. So this is the app. So there are to-do items, and each of them can be toggled, and we can filter these items. It shows all the items. This button shows completed items, and this button shows active items. We can also delete these. So each of the actions that we're performing here, corresponding to that, we need to have an action in Redux. So for adding the item, we have add to do action, and we have remove to do action, we have toggle, and we have set visibility filter. So I have already explained add to do action. So for remove to do, uh, we modify the state such that the item which we want to remove, we receive the index of that item in the action object. So the action object for uh, toggle to do looks like this. So we receive an index and we receive the type of the action. So based on that, this function modifies the state and returns a new one. So our app is connected with these actions. So this container component, app container, will dispatch all these actions, and all these will just make these actions available as props to this to do component. So to do component is just a presentational component. So I'll just get to this to do component. So this is what it looks like, and Inside the render function, uh, this is our view layer. So we are using native base components here. So this container component contains all of the view, uh, all the components inside the page. And as you can see, this header component, for this header component, we have used header from native base. We have a title, and all of the content which need to be scrollable inside the page is inside the content component. And for all the to-do items, we are using list component from native base. Inside list component, we have this function render to-do list, which will return all the items. So we'll have a look at this function. Now, based on the display type, uh, it decides which items to show. So this Redux state is available as props to this component. So inside this props, we have display type. Based on that, we return the to-do items like this. So we have created a new component here, to-do item, to which we will pass these props. So I'll also open the to-do item component. So this returns a list item component from native base, and we just have a checkbox inside that. We have the text which has the to-do item text, and this icon which is this icon used for deleting the to-do task. So the to-do items are available in this array. So using the map function, we return the array of to-do items. And for these three buttons, we have used native base buttons, and each of these buttons has an action uh, on press. So this action modifies, dispatches the action set visibility filter, which modifies the display type variable inside the state. And based on that, we render different to-do items in this function, render to-do list. And for input, we are using input group component from native base uh, and a button. So this input group component, as you can see, we can modify it very easily. So this has some default styling from native base, and we can change how it looks based on this prop border type. So if I write regular here, you can see the rectangular border, or I can also have rounded border with this. So it is very easy to customize all these components. And I'll just give an example how we can modify the header component and customize it. Like we can have a button here. I forgot to import that. So I just added a button inside this header with the prop transparent, and we have an icon inside that button. So it shows up like this, and we can also have another button inside the header which will show up on the right side. So and now I'd like to show you some other components from NativeBase. So we have this anatomy, which has container, header, content, and footer. So uh, this defines the layout of your page. And we have batch component. We have button components. Based on different props, you can render different types of component buttons. Then we have a card component. And this is the checkbox component that we have used with our to-do app. So we have this list and list items inside that. Each list item has a checkbox and text. And we have a component deck swiper in NativeBase. This component is just like Tinder swipe. So you can have cards which you can swipe on left or right. And we have floating action button. And we have this footer tabs. And input group component that we used in our to-do app. You can customize it in different ways, like you can see in this screenshot. We can have icons with that. Then there is a picker component, which looks different for iOS and Android. And the search bar component can be used inside the header. So that's it. And I hope the to-do app was clear enough. And so for this to-do app, we have the source code available on GitHub. So you can pull that up and get the source code. So I think I'm finished with everything here.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Himashu, for the talk on NativeBase. And thank you guys for joining us in another webinar series here at BeMyApp. Again, don't forget to stay up to date with our newsletters by registering at community.bemyapp.com and check out our upcoming events at bemyapp.com. Again, thank you, Himashu, and see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.